All right, you're all set.
All right, I'll call the meeting to order. I would like to recognize the passing of two teachers that just recently passed away, Carol Erlinson and Candy Russell. Our thoughts are with their families as they go through this process. We have 2A, the approval of the April 16th special meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to accept them as submitted?
Arnie will make it.
Paul second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And I apologize, I'm going to be going back and forth here, so I'm trying to keep my agenda open. Approval of the April 20th special meeting minutes.
Ready to move them.
Second?
Second.
Who
All in
was that?
favor? Marilyn and
Aye.
Braden and Marilyn.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And the approval of the April 22nd regular meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to accept them?
Arnie will move it.
I'll second it.
All in
Marilyn.
favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. All right, 3, the public comment. In light of Executive Order 202.1, in-person attendance at public meetings is suspended until further notice. Board meetings will be conducted remotely and public sessions may be viewed live on the district's YouTube channel. Should the public request or should the public want to make a public comment, they can do so by emailing boe@waltoncsd.org or calling the district clerk at 607-865-4116, extension 6130. Public comments requiring a response will be addressed at the next regular business meeting. We're up to discussion items. We had a finance committee meeting last night. And during that meeting, Meg had supplied us with an updated version of the budget and what that will look like, that we will go out with to the voters. And currently right now, I'll just give a brief description because we're going to be discussing that further tonight. But a 2% tax levy increase, which amounts to approximately $133,277. And we are anticipating using $525,000 of our fund balance to help offset the state aid and the taxpayer tax levy revenue. And then if the state aid, because it's so uncertain, if we get a reduced amount, there may be a need for cuts throughout the budget. And but we are going to go out at the max right now that we can. And I think when we get to the additions to the agenda, Meg, I'll let you give a little bit more detail on that, or maybe when your presentation. All right. There were no correspondence, correct, Corey?
Correct.
All right. And additions to the agenda.
Okay, we have 5 additions to the agenda. All of them are relating to the budget vote and the budget. We have item 8B, approving the resolution to provide for holding of the adjourned annual meeting. And I'll read a little bit of this statement for you. A public hearing of qualified voters of the Walton Central School District shall be held remotely pursuant to Executive Order 202.15 on May 26th, 2020. And that's a date that we will all have to confirm. Budget hearings need to be held between May 26th and June 2nd. And that will be held and viewable on the Walton Central School District YouTube channel at 6:00 p.m. for presentation of the proposed budget for the following school year. The budget will be available for review on May 26, 2020, and thereafter at the middle school, high school, and district offices. And that has been reduced from where we normally have it available because of the shutdown. The adjourned annual meeting in and for the Walton Central School District shall be held on June 9th, 2020 by absentee ballot as directed by Executive Order 202.26. Absentee ballots will be mailed to qualified voters of the district on or before May 29th, 2020. Absentee ballots must be received by the district clerk by 5 p.m. on June 9th, 2020 in order to be counted. The propositions hereafter set forth in the notice of said meeting as described in Exhibit A, which is available on the public content, is attached here too. And the rest of the notice is pretty much the same as what you had adopted originally in March, but we've updated it, changing the times that the buildings are open. We are now open from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And again, the budget is viewable in the middle school office, high school office, and district office. And the date of the vote by ballot will be on June 9th. And those are all by executive order. So that was item 8B, approving the notice of the adjourned annual meeting. We have item 8C, which is adopting the 2021 budget. And I'll read a little bit. It's to adopt the proposed 2021 budget in the amount of $21,549,412. And to present the same to voters by absentee ballot at the adjourned annual meeting to be held on June 9th, 2020, as directed by Executive Order 202.26. And then we have item 8D, which is adopting the 2021 property tax report card. And that is just like every other year. There's an attachment that you can take a look at when you're ready. And item 8E, which is adopting the bus proposition. And it would be adopting a proposition for the lease of 3 buses. At the same time, it will be presented to the voters on June 9th. And I will tell you that the total amount for the 3 buses over the 5-year term is not to exceed $262,500. And that's for 3 65-passenger buses. And to levy taxes for the lease of those vehicles. And there is a public attachment to that. And I think that breaks it down per year by bus.
And Corey, just to clarify, the middle school and high school office,
Yes.
did you say? The budget will be available there?
Normally, we have the budget available in all school buildings as well as the public library.
Okay.
The library is currently closed. And because of the limited staff that we have in the buildings, our school attorney directed me to have it available in this particular physical building, which includes my office and the middle school and high school offices between the hours of 9 and 3.
Okay. Now, will this also go up on our website?
Yes, we're going to be doing a lot of updating. So far, we have only updated information about the actual date itself and for people who want to run for the board, because those petitions are due back to me by Monday. So everything is in a very condensed timeline.
Okay. Yeah, so if nobody wants to come into the building and they would rather view it online, it
will be online. We just don't have it there yet.
Okay.
So the last item that we're bringing forward tonight is item 8F, and that is to approve the Ogden Library proposition, which they presented to you in March. And that is increasing it from the current 123,916 to the sum of 125,775 as allowed by Education Law, Section 259. And I believe that was a 1.5% increase that they're asking for.
Right, okay. I'm just going through our things here. And Meg, just to clarify, are we still at, is it 86% aid for the bus lease?
I don't have that number off the top of my head, but I can look it up and give it to you in a minute.
Okay, no problem. Would anybody like more time to view them reports before we move on?
Good.
Good, okay. All right. We are up to, get through my stuff here, the consent agenda. We have the financial reports along with, and those are good through March 31st. And we have the, oh, actually, financial, the transfer of funds. And there was a need for one of them that was above the $5,000 threshold. And the adoption of the BOCES Cooperative Purchasing Service Resolution. And Meg, thank you for sending out the comparison of the savings that we get by participating in that. That's quite a bit of a savings versus just purchasing off of state bid. And then we have a request to amend a scholarship, and the new scholarship award name will be the Clarence A. Lepar Annual Scholarship for Advanced Professional Education. And that'll be a $500 one recipient award. And that's all on the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Green will move
Motion.
it.
Paul
Second.
second.
Well, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right. New business. This is to adopt the capital outlay project seeker resolution.
That's just naming the district as lead agency, right?
Yes, and the designation that this project as a type 2 action is required in seeker.
And this does require a roll call vote.
Okay. I know when everybody's ready for that. Okay, so do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
By Graydon.
All right, Corey, would you like to call the roll?
Mrs. Williams,
Yes?
Mrs. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Charles,
Yes.
Mr. Dutcher,
Yes.
Mr. Wood,
Yes.
Mr. Drum.
Yes.
Thank you.
And now we have 8B. And that's the approval of the adjourned annual meeting. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion. Marilyn.
Arnie will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Here. Are there any questions on the adoption of the 2021 budget? We have a motion to accept that budget.
I'll make a motion.
Second,
Marilyn, second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, and to adopt the 2021 property tax report card. Do we have a motion to accept that?
Arnie will make it.
Kevin,
Second.
second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And to adopt the bus proposition.
Rhonda, that transportation aid is 89%.
Oh, 89, okay. All right. I think that's important for the taxpayers to know that. Do we have a motion to adopt the lease of the buses?
I'll move it.
Graydon will
Second.
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. And then 8F, the approval of the Ogden Free Library proposition. Do we have a motion to accept that?
I'll move it.
I'll second it. Graydon?
Braden? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. All right, I don't think I skipped over anything, Corey. I believe we are up to the superintendent remarks. All right.
So thank you, board, for your support for the work that has gone on with respect to the budget. It's been a interesting time. And I know we're not totally out of the water yet as far as knowing everything that's going on, but I do think that we put together a good plan, knowing what we know at this point. So I appreciate your support and certainly hope for the support of our community as well as June 9th gets closer to us. I've got a few things that I do want to mention to you that a couple of the principals wanted me to mention to you, and also transportation. And if I look like I'm looking up over the top of everything, it's because I'm looking at another screen. So please forgive me. Anyway, in the high school, Arts wants you to know that they're continuing to develop plans to honor all of the students, especially the seniors. We have had some conversations already, and we have held some things back because we wanted to know whether or not we were going to be opening or not. And now that we know where we're at, they're moving ahead with those pieces. And I'll be chatting with them again about those tomorrow when I'm present in the district. As of April 30th, as you know, the regions have been canceled, and Art is currently meeting with staff and with counselors and so forth to get further clarifications in terms of any kind of final exams or anything like that they might be going forward with. He says that at one point, when we were first starting some of our handing out work to students and collecting it on the buses, that we may have been only reaching about 50% of the students who did not have internet access. He says we now are getting return from those students about 70% effectiveness, and we're continuing to work on that. So the numbers are going up. We're working on it weekly. The counselors are making phone calls. I know Ryan Ashlaw as the Dean of Students has been making calls every day as well. And we've been getting reports on all of those students. Our numbers, we certainly want them to be better, but in conversation with other superintendents, we're better than many and certainly not worse than most. Also wanted you to know that yesterday started the virtual FFA convention, New York State FFA convention. And so we have our ag students participating in different workshops, virtual tours, and different meetings. At business meetings, they're serving as delegates. If you're interested in seeing some, I have a link if you're interested in taking a look at some of the things that are going on there. That virtual convention is going to be going on over the next couple weeks. Moving on to Amanda Hoover down at Townsend Elementary School. Amanda is mentioning that we're currently finishing up work on the identification of what essential skills they're going to be looking at for students for the report cards for the fourth quarter. Their class lists and their scheduling committee and their ELA core curriculum committee have been meeting virtually, and they're continuing to set up plans for next year. They are a lot of the teachers are participating in a book study, have been. I don't think we've mentioned this to you, but have been since as a means, a professional book study, as a means of keeping their skills up. And that is continuing through next week, according to Amanda. They're working on some wrap-up sessions with respect to the letters training. If you'll remember, that's one of our reading programs to improve our reading scores and reading effectiveness with our students. And that's still been going on. It is wrapping up. And one of the nice things this year is that the DCMO BOCES actually had a couple of their, had one anyway, I'm sorry, maybe not a couple, but had one of their professional development people actually train in the letters and get licensed by the company to do the training. The upside of that is we'll be able to train more people next year because of that, and actually at a cheaper price. So that's been something that we've been very supportive of the BOCES and appreciate. We're also letting you know that we do have a large group moving from second grade. Let me take that back. A large group moving from third to fourth grade, I believe. And so we've got a teacher moving into the fourth grade for next year. We're just making an adjustment, a large group coming up through. And so we've got to make some movements with some staff, and Amanda's already been working on that. So that's a good thing to have that all planned out. Moving over to transportation, Tracy makes note that we're serving about 1,000 meals a week. We're sending about 600 of them out on Mondays and another 200 on Thursdays. You'll recall that for those students who either don't have internet access or for those and we're making deliveries to, or other unique situations that we're continuing to provide instructional materials, run those off and send them out. We're continuing to collect instructional materials. So that instruction is going on all the time, and hats off to the staff who are coming in to assist with that, along with food service and our transportation staff. We couldn't really make any of this happen without all of those groups. continued cleaning and disinfecting for those buses that are going out daily at the bus garage. We're also having normal bus maintenance going on to deal with the delivery issues. Of course, our buses need to be serviced after all of that. We've had Department of Transportation inspections going on. Our last time that the official was in from New York State DOT was on April 30th. We've had 100% passage rate on everything. We haven't had any kind of issues with respect at all. And Tracy just wants to make sure that we express a thank you to everyone who's been involved in the meal deliveries. It's been very, very successful, and I'd just like to echo that. It has been a wonderful process, and I think it's really phenomenal. I was talking today with the community group. We're still trying to meet once a month. Today was our meeting, and we'll do one more in June before the end of the year. And when you think about how folks come together and at points of adversity like this and challenges, and you think about how folks are able to come together and change up what you usually do and be flexible enough to create a new system, and to do all that in a very, very short period of time. When you think about it, it's really a phenomenal experience. And I know something that I'm certainly going to remember for a long time to come. So I'm incredibly appreciative of all of our staff.
Larry, and also to touch on that, watching the news and seeing the hard times that a lot of the food banks and the communities are having to get food to individuals, and that we have that many students that are receiving meals 5 days a week, right? That would be considered 5 days a week that they're actually having meals prepared for them.
Yes.
That's a huge help to these parents that have lost their jobs during all of this.
And if I may, I do want to take advantage of this pulpit, if you will, just to say that we are still able to do deliveries. There may be some folks out there who have just gotten laid off or what have you, and their life has changed. And we can provide those meals as we are, there was no certain period of time when, boy, if you didn't sign up by a certain period of time, now you can't do that. If there is a need right now that maybe wasn't there before, then we're happy to continue to supply that. It's just a matter of a family member, a parent giving us a call and saying, hey, my world has changed, and I'd like to have some of that service, and we're happy to do that. And I would encourage anybody who has need to please let us know. Please let us know, and we'll be happy to assist, as so many other people are right now. So please.
Right. And I see a lot of people that if they live off the main road where the bus comes through, they're actually putting coolers down by the end of the road, for these stops. So that's an option too. If they don't feel like they can, be down there, whatever the circumstances might be, they can just put a cooler down there.
Just a side note, when I do drive over on the days that I come over, I can tell you that and I travel through 8 different school districts to get to Walton on any day that I come over, and I see those coolers out everywhere, all the way. If there's a mailbox or an end of a driveway or what have you, those coolers are out there with kids either family name on them, and most of them say please do not take or something on them that I've seen. But it's pretty pervasive. So
Good.
The only other thing that I do want to mention is the Corey and Meg and I all participated with most of the rest of the BOCES today on a big meeting with, we meet daily with the superintendents, but today we all met to talk about the voting structure and decisions that the governor has come down with, and now the numbers, the dates that we've been given. So you all know June 9th. We appreciate your taking quick action today. thankfully, we've had a couple meetings that we can talk with. We've talked to everybody about, and you folks have been great as far as responding with that. So, it has come quickly, and it's a different environment, but we're trying to stay on top of things and to be as open and clear with everybody as we possibly can. Folks will be seeing some announcements on our website, and we will be doing a newsletter like we have that talks about the budget a little bit. Might be a little bit abbreviated compared to prior years, but just because of time and ability to print things and that sort of thing. But we're going to continue to do all of that. So. So that's about it for what I have. I am requesting a very brief executive session for the board with respect to some negotiations issues.
Larry, I did have one question with Mr. Loomis and Mrs. Hoover, given an update about the students and returning packets and stuff. Is there anything else that we can do to reach out to the parents that their students are not as active besides what we've done? Like, the Global Connects, I know they go out. Are there families that don't have a phone and may not be receiving that? Do we need to do a separate mailing, or is there a way to tell that?
Well, I know that I mean, we keep track of what of the phone numbers that folks give us, and we do dial things out to that. And there is, as far as the Global Connect is concerned, we do get a report back that we can look at, and the report will say, somebody picked up on the other end of the line, okay, or somebody didn't pick up, but it went to an answer machine, okay, or that nobody picked up at all, or maybe, and when we see those kinds of reports, we can follow up on those and see if there was a phone was disconnected or those kinds of things. Most of that, I believe Corey can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of that would run through the counselor's office, student services office, Corey.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
so they take those reports and we follow up on them. Just in the same way, we actually get those same reports when we've done a snow day or anything like that. So we do look at them, we review them. The other things that we do is we do, sometimes we send out messages in the lunches. That doesn't hit every student, certainly.
Right.
We do try to post things on our website. And I do have to say that our instructional staff has been making phone calls to their students, and our support staff, including our principals, including Ryan Ashlaw, has been doing an amazing job actually in terms of calling every student and encouraging them and seeing where things are at, asking them why, maybe if they're not getting meeting certain deadlines and things of that sort. So we've tried to hit a lot of different options to connect with kids. I think we're doing a good job with it, but certainly if somebody's got another idea of something else that we could do, we'd be happy to look into it.
I know I've been involved in a couple of Zoom meetings with my grandchildren, and I have to say the students enjoy that so much. Just seeing the teachers, face again, hearing their voice, but also in this last Zoom meeting, Mrs. Guidel and Mrs. Couturier had joined this particular class Zoom meeting. And that was amazing because they got to see something else. And Mrs. Guidel actually, they read a story. Mrs. Couturier, I think, was scheduled today. They were going to do a drawing via Zoom meeting. So I think that's nice, but it wasn't well attended. And for whatever reason, whether the parents don't know how to get onto a Zoom or they don't have the technology, to do a Zoom meeting, it's too bad. But that's why I had mentioned maybe, YouTube also, YouTube videos, might help when, if it's after work hours, that they can go and do click on the YouTube video of a teacher or something. That might help. But
Yeah, I mean, we're willing to take a look at a lot of, at anything, actually. I mean, part of it is going to be a question of logistics and can we make it happen from a technological standpoint. And yeah, we're willing to take a look at some other options. I have conveyed some of those ideas that you just mentioned to all of our building principals. And I know that they've, at least a couple of them have taken some time to consider them, and they've given me some initial reactions to that. I don't think it's the last reaction necessarily, but I mean, they are looking at those things. And, but I do have to say that I do think that they're diligent. They're not just, well, I tried to contact that student, I didn't hear anything back, so I'm not going to do anything about that.
Right.
or not follow up. They are going after it. They're aggressive about it.
right. And I think it helps that the board, was in agreement with the one-on-one Chromebooks and stuff.
Oh, yes.
For all of our students
You
to
bet.
have that in place prior to this happening. Rick was on the ball with that.
I think, that all ended up coming together a little faster than maybe we had thought it was going
Exactly,
to
yeah.
originally. But I think that is working out very, very well. And, who knows, we may end up seeing more of that as time goes on too.
Right.
But those are decisions to be looked at a little bit later down the road.
Right. I know I feel sorry for, all the students. The seniors are impacted by all this, but so are all the students and the staff. A lot of firsts are not happening, because of, this terrible virus, but hopefully, everybody will come through it and, hopefully in our area, we'll keep fighting, to stay healthy.
Yep.
All right. Was there anything else that anybody else had? Okay, so we have a matter or need for an executive session for the purpose of discussing a matter relating to contractual negotiations.
Yes.
Do we have a motion to go into?
And Madam
Oh.
President, I just want to mention that I'm not going to be asking for any kind of vote or anything like that. No kind of action. This is just to inform the board
Okay,
of information.
Can I just ask one quick question before we go?
sure.
Our previously established budget calendar had one additional community forum before the budget hearing. My thought was, given the shortened timeline and not knowing when things were going to happen, that we would just proceed with the public hearing on May 26th. I just wanted to confirm that everyone was on board with that and there wasn't a desire to have another community forum between now and then.
Any preference to anybody? Let's keep just May 26th.
Yeah, I don't believe, given the current situation with unknowns on up and through the 15th of May, and then trying to squeeze in one ahead of that just to follow it with the 26th, doesn't seem like that would work well. So I would definitely support one on the 26th.
I would
Thank
agree
you.
with that.
Okay, so we're going to have a regular meeting on the 19th, the
Yes,
budget hearing on the 26th, and then another regular meeting on 2nd. Just so you're all aware.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
all right. So we need a motion to go into an executive session.
I'll make a
Motion.
motion.
I'll second Marilyn's motion.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 And because there is not anticipated vote after it, I will ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll move it.
Or actually, I'm sorry, come back out into regular session and then adjourn the meeting. So Graydon and second.
I'll
Arnie?
second Arnie's motion.
Oh, sorry, I got the voice.
It doesn't matter.
See how easy that is?
Arnie and Graydon. Okay.
Yes. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Now we have to go out of this one and come into another one?
Correct.
Yeah. Corey sent a second email at 3:42 today, so that's the one you'll want to look to for the code and
Okay.
everything.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Corey.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Gordon.